Okay, guys, episode 2. 2 guys, 1 cast, and we're here with Christian today, so good to have you here, buddy. Yeah, and not only that, you actually get the distinguished honor of being our very first guest on this show, too, so I hope you're excited, and, you got a lot to live up to here. We got high expectations for you, and I think everyone wants to kind of hear your story, man.
Cool, man. Cool. I'm excited to...
So, we've trained with you for quite a while now. I don't know how many years it is now, but I don't... I kind of know where you want to go with it, since you've been with us, like how you done and things like that. But I don't know what got you into starting out jiu-jitsu and MMA and things like that.
I was actually kind of like a music nerd, and so I was like getting beat up a lot. So I just started like boxing with my buddy, with Jamie and Dave Allison.
Okay.
And saw Bibiano was doing free week trials at Revolution. So I went and tried that out and got beat up pretty good. Came home with like pretty big black eye. Parents were like, you're not going back. So that was like 8 years ago, and so then I went to Infinity MMA. Started doing jiu-jitsu and really fell in love with that. Started competing jiu-jitsu, and then they asked me if I wanted to fight MMA, and that's when I really started like training in all aspects of martial arts. And I had my first MMA fight, and I won, and it was just like all the chaos, the lead up, the weigh-ins, everything was really cool. It was just really appealing to me, and so I enjoyed it, and the winning was a really addictive feeling. You just get this rush of endorphins and stuff, and that was huge to me, and that kind of started me off there.
So was that was a Quest for Glory fight, right?
That was with West Coast Promotions.
Oh, okay.
It was called Seeing Red 3, I believe.
Okay, so how old were you when you first took that fight then?
I was 18. Or 17 or 18, I can't remember.
So had you competed in any jiu-jitsu tournaments or anything before that? Or just jumped right
I
into
had done one West Coast Martial Arts tournament. It was a submission-only tournament, and it was like there was about 10 guys in the group, and it was just like everybody face everybody round robin style, and then highest point leader wins. I got second in that, but and every single time I lost, I was just like, you get that little, I got to do better next time. I got to do better. Yeah. So that was also something that appealed to me about martial arts, is that there's never like a pinnacle of you're like, okay, I've learned everything, and so that was big.
So was it City Boxing you went to? Because you said you went to Jamie and Dave Allison. That was before they were in Revolution, or was that when they were?
No, that was actually, they were across the street from Revolution there, and so my buddy was training there, and it was cool, just the camaraderie that you get with the guys in the gym too. That's something I enjoyed as well, and I always thought that, especially when the UFC came out, I was like, boxing's awesome, it's a gentleman's sport, it's a sweet science, and I love watching it and everything like that, but if a guy can put you on his back and put you unconscious in a couple of seconds, what is it all for, right?
Yeah, it's more that's a real fight.
Yeah,
right?
And so that's what kind of got me into the jiu-jitsu side and stuff like that, and yeah. So
you came to Revolution, you tried it out, you went back to Infinity. How did you end up coming back to Revolution?
So I had about 3 fights out of Infinity. And so I sat down with my coach, Christian Allard, at the time there, and he was saying, you got to just have a bit more of a base of training partners, and, training partners are really what make you excel. And so I decided to make the switch to a bigger gym, and that was over to Revolution. Okay. And so I had 3 fights at the time. I was 1-2, and so I was going through my ironworking. I was doing some ironworking and working, trying to get my career on path, but not really training 100% full-time MMA, and so I ended up going 1-2, came to Revolution. I had 3. I fought Perry Hare, I lost to. Colton Higginbottom, I lost to, and I was 1-4. And Robin Haluska and Danny Glass sat me down, and they were like, man, like you got potential, and you're a scrappy kid, but if you're not gonna put everything into this, there's no point in like just getting your head beat in every single time. Where I was going in there for 15 minutes, just getting beat up, right? And so I took the step. I started working at Revolution. Robin gave me a job, and I started working there full time, and that allowed me to train 2, sometimes even 3 times a day. And then I won four fights in a row, avenged my loss against Colton Higginbottom, and it's been all up basically from there.
So like kind of backtracking a little bit. So I remember, you came to Revolution. You were kind of like 1 and 2 at the time, and then you lost your first couple with Revolution. But I remember cornering you for one of your fights, I think against Perry. I think it was as that fight. I remember you were like, pretty pissed off after. Like, different people react different ways, and you're pretty pissed off after. And one of the things I remember you saying after is like, because at the time you were working so much, right? So you weren't really making sparring classes much, right? You were more doing jiu-jitsu and kickboxing classes and things like that, sparring when you could. But I remember you saying like how you're going to do, because I think that fight kind of came down to conditioning more or less, right? Kind of like that was one of the factors. Like, did you feel that?
Yeah. Like heart was there, but I just
like you kept fighting, but like you just the conditioning was a factor. But I remember you said after that fight, you said, "Okay, next fight I'm gonna be doing conditioning like 5 days a week," and then it turned out to be. You have one more fight after Perry that you lost?
Yeah. Or was Perry my last loss?
It could have been the last one, I'm not sure.
I believe Perry was the last loss.
So then it didn't end up turning out to be like that. It wasn't necessarily that, hey, you went and did 5 days of conditioning a week, because that's not the answer, right? What it ended up being the answer was to come and spar, right? And putting yourself in, because you can do as much as you want, like out on the turf and out on there, but you can't replicate that unless you're sparring, right? You started doing MMA sparring, and not just kickboxing sparring, doing lots of rounds and rolling, which I'm sure you were doing, but MMA sparring, right? The up and down, getting taken down, getting your ass back up, and there's nothing that can prepare you for that like sparring. So did you find that was like, you quit your job and you're able to train more, but did you find that sparring was kind of like the thing that kind of took you to that next level to get you ready for fights, or was there something more than that?
For sure. And that's another thing too, is that sparring with like pro guys, most of the pro guys, they train during the day, right? And so you can't do that when you're working full time and stuff like that. And so that sparring did help a lot. And you get put into the fire where you get hit with a shot, and it's not always good to get rocked in sparring or anything, but you get hit with a shot, and you gotta fight through, and you're tired, you're gassed out, and you gotta get through that round and still win on the scorecards, regardless if you're like, I can't make it, you still gotta come out, look impressive. And I think sparring is the best way to replicate, like you were saying, that feeling of the fire.
It makes me think, we did this hard conditioning workout the other day, right? And like they always say, like, your training is never as hard as the fight. But man, I don't know. Like I've had some hard fights, but like that wasn't even like the hardest conditioning we did the other day. But just things like that make you feel like, God damn, a fight is not that hard, and it shouldn't be, right? So you have to push yourself in training, but gosh, that was terrible. Like,
it was pretty rough.
Yeah. So anyway, so you turned your amateur career around essentially, right? You ended up winning, I think, 3 in a row at that point, and then you ended up getting the chance to fight for the title, right?
Yeah.
And you were supposed to fight Saeed.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that's like pretty big step up. Like Saeed's, he's pretty talented, but not only that, he should have been pro a long time ago, right?
Yeah, that very first card I ever fought on, he was the main event against Victor Wang.
There you go. And I remember at the time, I wasn't fighting then or anything, and I was just kind of getting back into it, but people were saying like how good he was, and he's the main event, right?
Yeah.
And and then for people who don't know too, he just I think not this or a few weeks ago, actually in July, when they did the amateur tournament, but he won last year when they did the amateur world tournament, right? He came
at light heavyweight.
At light heavyweight, right?
Yeah. And he smashed everyone too.
So really, he should be going pro, and so that was a pretty big step up for you, right? So what ended up, like, how did you kind of approach that fight, and then obviously tell us what happened with it, because it didn't end up going through, right?
Yeah. It was definitely my biggest step up, and I was just, I believe that if you don't take challenges, you don't push yourself, you don't get better. I think the more that you push yourself, the better that you can excel. So I never try and like shy away from challenges, although the Saeed was a huge challenge. And so I was really working my wrestling for that fight, just mostly because he's got stellar wrestling, and he's really talented. But then about maybe 3 or 4 weeks out from the fight, I got a call from Jay, the promoter at BFL, and he goes, so Saeed won't be able to make the weight.
Oh, so that was see, I forgot about that. Wasn't the
and
it wasn't
didn't he message you on Facebook too and tell you that he wasn't going to make the weight after you guys had been kind of going back and forth? But
this was
right?
This was how far off from the fight though?
This was almost a month, but three weeks, almost a month.
So how can you know how far off weight can you be? I think right now, if I were to take a fight 10 days, I'd make the weight. Like,
exactly,
you just do what you can.
Well, it's like 2 weeks before that, I think, like 2 weeks, something like that. You guys were going back at each other pretty, you know, he was saying a lot of things. And
okay.
Yeah. And, so, like you said, he shot me a message on Facebook saying, like, oh, bro, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not going to be able to make weight. And I was like, man, you know, it's like a decent amount out. Like, you should be able to make it, blah, blah. He goes, no, I'm 196 right now.
And this is 155.
It was supposed to be the title fight for 155. Yeah. And so, like, I mean, amateur, I don't think that you like a 40-pound cut for anybody. I mean, like, that's just ridiculous. Yeah. And so he said he had some personal issues going on and stuff like that. So maybe we'll meet sometime down the line, and hopefully I'll get a crack at him because I think that'd be a really good name to have checked off on the resume.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, he's talented, like super
he's
good,
super
right?
talented, and exactly we have winning that amateur tournament and stuff. He's a big name in the Lower Mainland.
So then what ended up happening? Right, you ended up.
So Cole Smith stepped in, and that was a really fun fight. That went all 5 rounds.
Yeah.
And it was real back and forth. In the first round, I was even like questioning it. He flurried pretty good on me, stuck me against the cage. He was using really good pressure. He double legged me with a couple good slams early in the fight. But him having it taken on short notice, I knew I'd have like the gas tank advantage on him. I was like, I was riding my bike to work and training every day, so I knew my gas tank was gonna prevail, and so I just pushed, kept grinding, and I think I just won in the judges' eyes just on pressure alone, just sheer like walking them down.
Yeah. I remember being like I think it was in your corner for that fight with Tyler, but you know, one of the things was you started like going at him, and you guys were swinging, getting these big exchanges, right? And I think you ended up changing it around as the fight went on. You started using a lot more angles, right? And I think that was a big thing for you, right? Because when he started swinging, he was missing, and you were still tagging him, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, the conditioning wise, obviously paid off for you there, you know. So quite the drastic change from some of those old amateur fights, right?
Yeah, and I think that's also something that I'm getting a lot better at is, you know, I'm such a long, lanky guy, and I've just been fighting these guys like sitting in their range, playing their game. And so in my next couple of fights, that's definitely something that you're going to see a lot of, is a lot more range, a lot more angles.
So you finally, like, you turned things around, you know, ended up winning like 4 in a row, you know, ended up winning the belt, which is obviously a cool way to kind of cap off your amateur career, you know, win it in kind of like the top promotion around here. And then how'd you end up going to Thailand? How did that work out?
So I had applied to this Team Quest Thailand program 3 times previous, and but that was, like I said, I was 1 and 2, I was 1 and 4, 2 and 4, and so then finally I'd gotten this win streak together, and Cole Smith had actually been out to their program for 6 months, and so when he took the fight, I was like, bang, I'm getting right back on these guys. I'm fighting one of your guys. If I win, like, you know, I feel like that should prove my worth. And I talked to Jared Kennedy, had connections out there. He had been out there and everything, and so he put a good word in for me as well. And so when I won that fight, they said that they'd accept my sponsorship request, and so I got to head out there, and that was a really cool, really good experience too for me. I had a lot of Muay Thai fights over there. I had 6 Muay Thai fights, and those for me were just good. Having from when I left to when I come back now, I feel like I can go into a fight and you know, control my heart rate a lot better, you know, control my nerves better, like actually clear-headed, kind of have a little bit of that sanity when I'm fighting. And so I feel like the more fights the more time in the ring, in the cage that you have, the better. You can kind of have more clarity in there.
So you were living right where you're training, right?
Yeah, so Team Quest, they have like a lower level, and then they have a outside Muay Thai ring in area, and then two rings and stuff. But this upper area that they have is for the sponsored fighters, and so we call it Tent City. There's like
you guys aren't actually staying in tents though, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Most of the sponsored fighters are. Like a lot of the sponsored guys that go over there will. There's little places around. You can rent a place for maybe $90 a month, and so it's super cheap. But I was just trying to stretch my time out there as long as I could, and so you get your own little tent. You got your own little space around it for all your gear and everything like that. It's nice, you wake up in the morning, train at 8, you wake up at 7:30. And so that was a cool aspect of it too, is that you're only really thinking about your training. You wake up, you go train right away. Right after training, it's like, okay, how am I going to eat the best for my recovery? Then you go sleep for a little bit, maybe if you want to, go do your conditioning, do your grappling night session, and then and just everything you do in your day is geared towards bettering yourself as a mixed martial arts fighter. Do
you find like training in the heat was a factor? I was wondering about that. Going to Thailand, like, and getting used to actually just pushing yourself and training through the heat. Like, I mean, training here in a gi in summertime can get brutal. And I usually like to train earlier if I can, but like out there, I imagine year round. Did you find it tough, or did it not even really phase you?
I did. Like the first couple of weeks, especially, you almost feel like you're gonna pass out at the end of your workouts. You're just so water deprived, and it's not necessarily that you can't drink enough water. It's that you're just sweating so much that your electrolytes are so low too. Yeah. So they got these packets called D-lights and stuff that are just basically electrolyte packs, and you smash those throughout the day, and those help a little bit. But you got to be drinking those a lot, crushing lots of water. I mean, you're just sitting there like watching tapes or whatever, and you're sweating anyways.
Yeah.
Did you lose a lot of weight out there, or was it hard to keep weight?
So my earlier amateur fights were 145. Later ones were all 155, and then out there I had my pro fight at 145, just sheerly off of I was like walking around at 100, and there was one point where I was walking 158 pounds, and I'm like 6'2".
And what are you walking at right now?
Right now I'm walking at 170, 175.
That's a pretty big jump.
It's a very big jump. Yeah, you're just sweating constantly. There's no break, no hiding from it.
So have you kind of made a decision now, kind of where you're gonna stay, like 45, 55, or were you going up? Like what do you think?
Like I'll probably go 55 is I think my bet. I'm not really too concerned about like cutting too much weight or anything like that, but if the right fight at 45 did come up, I would take it.
Obviously, you just need some time to
exactly.
Get down
I need
about
the 8-week camp and Tremayne on board for a diet plan and everything
exactly.
like that.
Stay on track with
it.
Exactly. Cool. So, did you guys have any tell us about your training out there, like your training partners and things like that. Do you guys do anything kind of different than how we do out here, or is it just kind of like maybe a little bit more structured? Just because guys are out there for training, right? Out here we're working, going to school, doing different things. But I mean, did you find anything else that was maybe a little bit different that kind of catered to you that you liked?
Yeah, as for the training partners, I did find that was a huge aspect of making the program better, is that there's always guys there. It doesn't matter. You're required to be there twice a day, Monday through Saturday.
Is that like part of
the sponsorship?
Yeah. Okay.
And so you're injured or something, like you're still coming. You're on the mats. You're encouraging guys. You're coaching. And like sometimes, depending if the head coach or whatever, Dylan, or he's got to go with, say, one of the more older, experienced veteran fighters, cornering them.
Yeah.
And then there's a younger fighter, then you might get the opportunity to go with him and corner him, right? So then that's where your coaching experience comes in, and so that's why they want you on the sides for things like that. And it does help having like guys there all the time, right? And like you say, like sometimes life gets in the way. You can't always be at every single training session, and you need your training partners, right? Without them, you can't train properly, and you're not going to have the same results. So it does help having guys there that are focused, and you learn to grow with them too, and pick guys. There was a couple of guys like Connor Hyatt, Bruno Carvalho, and Dylan Fussell. These guys have all been in the sport for like 10, 12 years, had like over 30 pro fights. So learning and just listening to these guys' experience and just trying to soak up as much as their experience as I can. See like, the things that they've done right, things that they've done wrong, learn, and so that's what I try and do with everybody, just try and pick and choose my experiences.
How was your? I always wondered about. I see some. For example, Ryan Ford, he's out there, he's boxing right now, things like that. And you just watch backstage clips and things like that and be like, out here, it's run by BC Athletic Commission, things are kind of structured, things like that. I imagine Thailand, like, what's your warm-up room like, and just, like, is a lot of shady shit going on in the back or what? Like, was there anything, how was your first fight, too? Because I imagine, like, you're going into a stadium, but... Like, I remember going to Thailand. I remember going to some fights, and, like, you got these guys screaming from behind the cage with their betting slips going insane. I imagine, like, coming out in a foreign country to fight a Thai is, a pretty different experience from, like, a white boy in Langley here, So, like, kind of tell me about that. Like, how was that?
Yeah, the behind the scenes is definitely, like, the first time it was, like, I think the lead up was almost as emotionally draining as the fight was. Just, you're looking around and there's all these guys, you're in a big open area. There's all these guys warming up and you're looking across and you're just trying to pick out the guy, okay, who's my size here? And
right, I guess so, like in this kind of aspect, it's not like you've probably had this fight planned and the guy can watch footage, right?
Yeah,
like,
no.
Oh, they just, like at that time, they just pick and choose or what?
No, it's not like at that moment, but they'll be like, it's very like on a whim, and you could be like, it could be a Monday and you can say like, hey, can I fight Muay Thai on Saturday? And it's so lax, like you can get that fight, right? Not always, but most of the time. And so you're looking around trying to figure it out. If you can find like a poster around town of the fights or whatever, so you can kind of see the guy's face and pick it out. And but yeah, my first fight, I actually I fought this guy. He was a little bit shorter than I was, but he looked pretty tough, and he was just like looked like a banger. He had a big square head, and so we had a good bang. Like I was just pretty much doing like my head down, throwing overhands, and I wasn't very good like Muay Thai style, and he was very upright doing his normal Thai style, and he was getting me with a lot of push kicks, snapped my head back, push kicked me in the face, but I just like kept walking him down. He got me with a good elbow. And it was like right on the top of the head, and I remember like I'd never been cut or anything like that before, and like I was seeing red because it was all in my eyes, and never had that issue with blood in my eyes, and I was kind of freaking out a little bit. And they stopped the fight to check the cut, and ref wiped my head and everything, but I was like in front of the team, right? First fight in front of Team Quest. I'm like, oh, I can't lose, I can't lose, I'm like begging the ref, like please don't stop it. And so we keep fighting, and so he was like throwing the elbows. That was what was working for him, and I was like, this guy's throwing elbows, I'm gonna throw some too. And I'd only been there for a short little while, but I learned like this one skip over elbow where you like pull the guy's hand down and come over top, and I'd landed that one right on the side of the head, and he fell like a ton of bricks in the floor. And so that was quite the experience too. And they stitch you up right backstage. Nobody like. No anesthetic, just some random.
It's a mad shit right there. That's what that is. That's a good story.
It was pretty crazy.
I like that.
So leading up to the fight, do they do medicals, anything like that?
No, and no weigh-ins. No weigh-ins. Yeah, you kind of like you gotta like give and take it. You can't really complain when you get a big guy because you get a small guy sometimes too. Right? I fought a guy one time. Like I was usually around fighting at 75 kgs. So I got to fight a guy at 70 kgs one time. And then another time I got to fight a guy who was like 80.
Yeah. That's a big difference in North America because guy will miss weight by a pound or quarter pound. Guys don't want to fight him, right? Like stuff like that.
We're talking 10-pound difference.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to fight, you don't have a choice, right?
So
after the fight, when you got the stitches and everything, do they suspend you? They don't do anything like that? They just stitch you up and you're good to go?
No, you're good to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Some real shit out there. Like, none of this bullshit like suspensions and health concerns. Like, forget that.
I guess they have so many fights every week and every weekend, right? Like, it'd be hard to do a database for suspensions and all that crap. So.
And a lot of the Thai people, they do that for a living, right? And so, I mean, sometimes they get knocked out pretty hard, right? And so if they want to keep living that lifestyle that they're living, then they got to fight on a regular basis, right? And so a lot of them they will fight after a concussion. It's sad in some aspects, but a lot of them are just uneducated towards like brain trauma and stuff like that. So
anyway, you ended up having your pro debut up there too.
Yeah. I fought on it was called Full Metal Dojo in Phuket. which was a really good card. They treated us all really well.
So with that, did you have weigh-ins?
Yeah, that one we had weigh-ins. Like, that one was super legit. Yeah. So we had weigh-ins, and then they did like a 10 a.m. official weigh-in, and then we did our media weigh-ins, which was really cool. I thought that was good that they give you a little bit more time to rehydrate and everything like that. And it was in a nightclub, which I thought was kind of a cool atmosphere.
Nice.
I have fought in a nightclub before.
And old Castlegar?
No,
not okay.
Castlegar.
That's where I fought one. That was pretty cool.
Quest for Glory, Gossip Nightclub downtown.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was greasy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That was a greasy fight club.
I was actually, that's where I was supposed to fight your coach, Christian Allard, at the time. Because I was an amateur at the time. Yeah. I was scheduled to fight him, but I think I got injured or something like that. Yeah, so it probably would have been on the same card.
What do you mean by greasy?
Like, we were in the upper VIP area, and I guess, I don't know, there was some big party or something the night before, so they were like, okay, well, there's push rooms up there, and we were like, okay, why are you telling us there's fucking rooms up there? And so then we get up there, and there's glass just everywhere, and like you can hear it underneath you, and so we had to sweep out our areas from glass.
Wow.
And then lay down all these puzzle mats and stuff, and as you're walking out, they're like, oh yeah, make sure you're wearing shoes just in case there is any glass on the floor and stuff like that. And so it's pretty funny because I actually I didn't bring any running shoes or anything like that. I was wearing my cowboy boots, and so I ended up walking out to the cage, and I got MMA shorts on and cowboy boots on.
That's awesome. Nice.
Yeah, it was a funny show.
I like that. Yeah. So anyway, so that was so it's your second time fighting in nightclub then.
Yeah.
So so how did your pro debut go though?
That was good. I fought this guy Amir Maher from Egypt. He was 4-1. And yeah, he came out really hard, just like tried to make it a slugfest. I think he was like more striking oriented, and I just got him to the cage. I got double underhooks, and that was the thing, he didn't really even like fight the double underhooks too much, and then so his grappling wasn't insane in the got him down with a hip toss, and like you're allowed 12-6 elbows in that league, and so I was slamming with a couple 12-6 elbows. And he just covered up his head, so I ended up just going right back down to the body. And then right when I switched over to the body, the ref jumped in and stopped the fight. Yeah. So I think it was like a minute and something. Yeah. So that was good. Nice.
Finally, kickstart 1-0.
With the 12-6 elbows, you didn't break his head like a board?
No.
Okay.
I did break
some
his
people would have.
broke his nose.
That's the reason why they don't want it.
I think that's what Mike's poking at here. Some people would have. He's trying to say the power there maybe wasn't.
Well, no, that's the reason why they have it banned in North America, right? It's because they demonstrated like karate. They used to break bricks and stuff.
I had no idea.
So that's why.
I just
really stupid, man. Like really stupid. So
weird.
That's true. I'm pretty sure you'd smash the guy's skull right through, right? Like,
yeah.
So kind of stepping away from fighting, going out to Thailand. Tell us about your experience in Thailand. Like how was it going out there? Like, had you done much traveling at all? Really?
No, not really. This was my like first kind of outside of North America anything. So that was really really eye opener for the culture aspect of it, and also just like learning a lot about yourself. Just there's a lot of times, especially visa runs, and just my initial getting over there. I had like a 12-hour layover in Shanghai. I was sitting there and pay the extra money. Never layovers suck. Yeah. It's like 12 hours of just sitting reading, and traveling. I think alone, just like actually like the from A to B aspect of it is a lot of learning goes on, and. But I visited temple a lot in Chiang Mai is where I was the majority of the time. There's one called Doi Sutep, but there was another closer one called Doi Kam. So I tried to get out a lot of the weekends. I go up to Doi Sutep. They have like a little meditation center there. I got a little bit of ADD, I found out, so meditation's hard for me. But
that kind of like aligns with a lot of stuff that you like to do, though, right?
Yeah, I like
meditation and things like that. And
I like to explore on the spiritual side of things, and so that was a really, really good experience for me to go up there. And I always thought I wanted to be a Buddhist and stuff, and so I got to got the chance to learn a little bit about the faith and stuff and see what it was actually about.
Yeah.
You know, and
when I'm asking you about your Thailand experience, I'm not talking about religion and like
more like a Tinder Thailand.
Yeah, exactly. What kind of
Tinder Thailand?
Got any good stories out there or anything like that?
I got some good, decent ones.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if they're air suitable.
Because you're pretty quiet, but like I think people know that you're kind of a savage when it comes to women.
Savage. I don't know what a savage, but
yeah, I know. I like it. Savage.
But,
that's how I'd describe it for you.
But yeah, that was definitely one part of the trip that I did very much enjoy was the women.
Yeah. Cool, man. I like it. Yeah. You know what I thought was cool too is he had Kat Zingano come out.
Oh yeah.
Come out and train there. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Kat.
Yeah, I really like Kat.
You actually get to train with her, like.
Yeah, I got to actually even like drill with her one day, which was awesome. And she's really cool. Like she basically just hung out with the team the whole time, and she's really down to earth, like just regular person. Really cool.
Why was she like? Because I think follow her on Instagram, so I just see she was going all over Thailand, but not only Thailand, she was all over the place. Like, what was her deal? Like, did she say like she's?
I think she was just trying to like kickstart herself back into training camp. I think she was saying, and just do it while on vacation is a really easy way to do it, right?
I guess so.
And Thailand, weight wise as well too. Like Thailand's a great place to shave it off really quick too, right? The heat.
Yeah, because she looked like she had put on some pounds.
I don't think it worked very well.
Well, but she had that before and after. It was a pretty drastic change from when she was out there, right?
I don't know if you saw that Instagram post she had. It was like all the way from
I did
178 or something like that, all the way.
That's crazy.
She was looking fine. And
yeah.
45 more.
Oh, really?
You had no problems with that, huh?
That got a like for sure.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome. Yeah. Cool, man. So, Thailand was good. What do you think about being back home? Kind of like maybe even like a comparison wise, like would you go back out there? Or like how do you find the training here right now, like kind of compared to out there maybe?
Well, I came back and like the team had kind of been structured, like Bibiano's running our program, and like our team is outstanding, and so I don't really think that like it's necessarily one team to the other or anything like that, but just the aspect of Thailand kind of appeals to me, and I did love it out there and stuff, so I would go back for sure, and I think maybe down the line I will. And there's a lot of good fight availability out there. There's a lot of good promoters. We have Battlefield, Hard Knocks. Other than that, I mean, like, you got to go all the way on Ontario, maybe down to the States, something like that, right? So it does, in that, like, it helps for staying active and stuff like that. So maybe one day, yeah. But,
nothing kind of in the immediate future for you? Yeah.
For the immediate future, I think I'll be in talks with Battlefield, maybe hit up Hard Knocks, see what they got going on. And, I'm really, really just itching to get back in there and fight again soon. As soon as possible.
So any goals for you right now? Like, other than that, you just want to get active right now and just kind of see where it takes you?
Yeah, like, I definitely like to at least get one more in the next, like, before 2017.
I guess.
100%. Got some, like, things I got to work around in the near future, but definitely one more. And then 2017 will be filled.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It'll be great at her.
Yeah.
Active, nice.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll build some good fights, and I would like to travel a little bit. Like we have a tough lineup of guys here, and it's hard. Everybody trains with everybody here, so it's slim pickings for fights, and so I'm willing to go anywhere.
Yeah,
not really looking to pick fights.
I think that's one of the cool aspects of it, even if you're not like haven't made it to that next level yet, but if you can go and fight different countries or even different provinces to start, but different countries, I think that's a appealing thing, even if you're not paying you great, like just to be able to go somewhere else and fight, it's just another experience, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Just somewhere else it takes you, right?
Yeah.
So you're not signed with anyone?
No, I'm free agent right now, which is pretty good. And I'm looking to just sign like one fight contracts. I'm not really too interested in locking myself down with one promotion as of now.
It's a way to do it. Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense too, right?
Yeah, I mean, if to lock yourself in and be like, okay, what if that promotion can't find you a fight, for that next card, then you're gonna wait 2-3 months for another fight.
I think.
Craig's
stuck in
exactly. Fights fall out, and I still got nothing yet, and I've been ready to go since my last one. I've had times where I was injured and things like that, but I'm ready to go. So
yeah, and it's tough, right? Like, so for Battlefield to be like, yeah, we can't bring in guys, it's
tough.
Yeah.
So well, it's good. Yeah, stick to that then.
Yeah.
Well, man, I think that's awesome. Thanks for coming out.
Cool.
Before we end it off, any shout outs you want to give? Anyone you thank or anything you want to say?
Nah, Team Revolution basically, Team Quest Thailand. Just the guys out at Team Quest Thailand, Dylan Fussell, Bruno Carvalho. They're running a really sick program out there. If anybody's ever going out to Thailand, Chiang Mai, they're a great school to hit up and great guys to be around.
Wicked. Thanks for coming out, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.